Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, and that is Connor, and we are going to talk about a new show from ABC. It's called Speechless. It's a comedy. It stars Minnie Driver. This is going to be season 1, episode 1, of course. It's called Pilot. There you go, nice and simple.
What a surprise.
Yeah, nice and simple. And this is about, and we're going to start off spoiler free as we do with first episodes, because you want to get a sense if it's worth checking out before we start talking about plot points that you might not want to hear. And this is about a family who has a son who is disabled. Now, I don't think it's ever actually mentioned in the episode specifically what his condition is.
No, it seems to be the whatever it is that Stephen Hawking does.
I think there's multiple things that can have those, like...
Yeah, but it's
in that
okay,
ballpark.
it looks that way.
Yeah, he's in a wheelchair, he can't speak, he's got like a little laser sight that he uses to point at his words.
Limited motion control of his body.
Yeah, so it's definitely similar to that. And I remember when we get this news that this show was happening, we read the synopsis of this during like the pilot season back in like April.
It had a different name, didn't it?
Whatever it was.
I'm sure it was this one. It was a little bit more potentially offensive.
No, the name wasn't offensive. It wasn't the name. I'm getting to what we were talking about. I think you're right that it had a different name, but I don't think the name is
right. Okay.
Here or there. But one of the things that I brought up is when I read what the synopsis was, and it was about this family with a kid who was in a wheelchair, and it was about him needing special needs. And I'm like, this is a comedy? Like, this feels like a landmine of like just insensitivity. Like, this could be terrible, this could be offensive. And I've got it first off the bat, it isn't. They handled this pretty flawlessly.
I will even say my other concern was that they would go too far and be like overly political correct and not have fun with it, even though that's kind of, if this is, how many sitcoms have a gimmick. Their gimmick is there's a kid in a wheelchair. You can see how they might be a little too cautious, but I don't feel like they were too overly done with that either.
No, and it's funny because I have a frame of reference for this. My father had MS until he passed away in 2010. Now, he could still speak, so it wasn't the exact same thing, but he was in a wheelchair and we had like a special car that he would, go in the back of and things like that. So a lot of these like procedures of taking care of someone like this, I've actually lived around it. I've also relentlessly made fun of someone in that situation, which sounds a bit dark, but when you live in a house with someone with one of these conditions,
thing,
yeah.
My mother is a special needs children's nurse,
Right.
so obviously she does that every day, and obviously by proxy I've spent my life around that as well. And a lot of them, very okay to joke about it.
Oh yeah, I used to crack wheelchair jokes non-stop. It was just a part of everyday life.
It's no different to, in this sense, it's no different to when Pete makes ginger jokes about me. In the sense that's how they took it, a lot of them.
Yeah. Connor's going to start protesting to get a ramp built outside of his building now. Why? Because I'm ginger and I need a ramp. No, so obviously there was a concern that it might be insensitive, and first things first, it isn't. It's actually, it reminds me a lot, the humour reminds me, not the exact same, but it reminds me of that Netflix movie that came out this year called The Fundamentals of Caring, where it showed that the person with the condition, whose name is JJ in this, he has a sense of humour, and he jokes about it, and he jokes about other things, and he makes fun of other people, and he's a very fun character. So
essentially, he's a person, not a caricature of just someone in a wheelchair.
yes, and that's kind of true of all of them, which I actually wasn't expecting at first. The first couple of minutes had me worried, because it was speeding through the plot so fast, and pun intended, because the scene in itself is the mum speeding through the traffic in a car, or in the van.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried it was going to speed through things too quickly. And it kind of did have that pilot feel where it was kind of setting things up, so it was rushing through plot points.
There is a degree that you can forgive, though, because so many pilots have that.
Once it got going, though, I have to say I thought this was pretty hilarious.
I enjoyed this so much more than I thought I was going to.
There was, all the characters kind of have their thing. So JJ, of course, has he's really funny, and he makes fun of stuff and himself, and and we'll leave out plot points just now. We'll save that for spoilers. But there's more to do with him and the help that he needs that leads to a lot of funny stuff. The mum is like super protective's not the right word. She's super vigilant about, like, you know, if somewhere doesn't have a ramp, like, she'll pick them up on it.
She's got a reputation.
Yeah, she's got a reputation for being difficult to deal with because she will, like...
She is almost what I was concerned about this show, but they kind of... Like, you know how I was saying how it could take it too far and be really careful? And it's kind of how she is, but if that was the show, but they acknowledge that by kind of being aware that she's very difficult and kind of perhaps too far over the line at times.
Oh yeah, because everyone around her, including her husband, is like, I'm just staying out her way because I don't want to get in front of that.
Right,
yeah.
And it kind of feels like a really meta way of addressing my concern about what the show could have been.
Yes. So she's like that. The other son, because there's he's got a brother and a sister, JJ. The brother Ray, I would almost argue he's kind of the protagonist. I think more than anyone else in this episode, at least, he has the most screen time. And he almost falls into a little bit of a trap where he's maybe a little bit too smart for his age, like the way he speaks. But that's kind of, like, again, a kind of running joke where he's, like, constantly being the voice of reason when he's surrounded by the crazy. It's almost a little bit like Malcolm in the Middle in the sense where the family's all crazy, but he's the straight man. But it's kind of funny because he's the kid.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's definitely what it is.
Yeah, and then the sister Dylan, she's a loudmouth. She's the one who
she cracked me up so much.
She did. I don't want to spoil the moments. We'll save that for the spoilers. But she's the one who screams at people. That's all I'll say.
She might be my favorite.
Yeah, she's the angry one who is very opinionated, and I think that, and the dad, of course, as well, is someone who's like, it's hard to describe. He's very laid back.
Yeah, he's kind of the absolute opposite of the mum.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
but he's kind of really just chill and kind of rolls with everything.
But all of them together makes for some very funny scenes, and I think one of the things they did really well is all of those characters around JJ. It never feels like they're worrying about him. Everything's just normal. They're used to this. They live like this every day. Yeah. And, you know, they crack jokes with each other and they, you know.
Yeah. Like I said, the only time that you see them worrying about is the mum. Like,
yeah.
But but that's part of her character that she's being like that. So it works.
And at the same time, though, it actually has a very poignant story moment in this first episode because Ray, you know, like his conflict, his issue in this episode is that they get moved around a lot because the mum's constantly looking for the best school for JJ because he has these special needs and all these other reasons. And it's almost a joke that, we're probably going to be moving again soon, so don't get too comfortable. And probably the main character story in this first episode is how he's feeling being one of the kids, you know, being the brother who doesn't have a condition or special needs, and his life is almost not normal by proxy because of the way his mother is.
Yeah, it's kind of like his doesn't matter as much as the main guys.
And it does it without ever feeling like it's villainizing anyone. It does it without, you know, it stays fun, but it makes its point, and you get it. Oh, that's actually quite a smart story beat.
There was a few jokes, not even to do with the disability stuff, that were made a point, but were still very funny.
Oh yeah, there was stuff, because the other main character we've not mentioned yet, Kenneth, he's like the caretaker at the school or something to that effect.
Yeah, some sort of janitor, maybe.
Janitor, but he also plants the flowers that he's quite proud of around the grounds. True. So he's got like a few extra things that he does. He's going to be a main character as well, and he cracks some good race jokes because he's black, and there's a couple of moments where he almost compares being black to having a disability, which sounds like it could almost be offensive in and of itself. But again, it's handled.
It's pointing out that in this very white town, he's aware of feeling different.
Yeah. But it uses it to make some very good on the nose points about how people otherwise overcompensate because they want to appear like they're either not being racist or helping the person who has special needs. You know, like and how those compare to each other. So this was actually a very good pilot. I am actually
It was shockingly good, yeah.
Yeah, I like, and especially since I thought because the first couple of minutes it's rushing through things. They're in the van, and there's some really bad green screen, like outside the van, and it looks very fake.
It's classic sitcom on a road.
Yeah, and it's not like you can't do this well. There's several movies where this happens, but you never know it because you can do it well if you give it enough time and you give it enough. The people who are doing it know what they're doing. It's convincing. But in sitcoms, it always looks like crap.
It always does. It's never the shots from the side. It's always the shots looking from like the dashboard into the car and looking out the back. It's always those shots that look utterly awful.
But after those first couple of minutes, it just to crack a wheelchair joke, it got on a roll, and off we were. And
I was convinced that I was not really going to probably watch this after the first one, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. That said, I don't think we're going to keep talking about it on this channel.
No, I'm not sure how much there'd be to talk about it regularly.
Because beyond talking about the things that work, I don't think there's much to discuss week to week beyond just going over what our favourite jokes were. Which, don't get me wrong, once we get into spoilers, we're going to do that in a minute anyway, because we might as well. We're here. But I don't think it's worth us doing this every week. Because
No, not unless there's some overwhelming demand for it all of a sudden.
Yeah. But that said, it is a very good show and you should definitely check it out.
Yeah. It was amusing. At the start I was trying to place, the dad. I was like
yeah, I've seen him in
something. Yeah. Joe it was like a while ago when I used to watch Big Bang Theory. And I didn't clock who he was until he opened his mouth. And he's got like that little bit of a lisp. It's like, I know exactly who he is.
Yeah, so that's Speechless. It's very, very good. So, spoilers. We're getting some spoilers now, if you've seen the episode and you want to hear us talk about some specifics. Yeah, so the main, other than Ray's story where he wants to move on and he's happy that his mother's kicking up a fuss like she always does. He then meets a girl and is like, oh no, now I want to stay.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the best jokes of the episode is they're talking about JJ getting someone to speak for him. Like, that's the whole point, is they're getting this person to come in, and he gets this woman who he hates, and he's very open about it to her as well. Like, he actually gets her to say that I hate her voice and things like that.
Yeah.
But one of the best jokes is when he's talking, like, him and his brother are talking, or no, he's talking to his sister, sorry. He's talking to his sister, and they're in bed at night, and he's asking his sister what the person who's going to speak for him will be able to do. And he asks, will she help me speak to girls? And the sister says yes. And then he says, well, maybe we should get one for Ray too. And I was like, that was a funny joke.
It was.
That was a good joke. But yeah, that was good. So yeah, and the other main plot, of course, is that Kenneth is going to become the person who speaks for him, because obviously JJ hates the woman they get and thinks she sounds like a fairy godmother or something like that. He said
that's what it was, because he has her going around saying bippity boppity boo and
yeah,
trying to turn them into pumpkins.
Because she gets annoyed that he asks her to say it during the dinner scene, and she says that adds nothing to this conversation, and the dad turns around and goes, yes it does.
I'm on his side, definitely does.
No, yeah, I was really into this, but yeah, Kenneth becomes like, he just like happens to run into JJ while he's on his own in the van at the end of the episode.
And he's one of the only people who treats him normally.
He
doesn't overcompensate.
He is. And then JJ gets happy when he translates some of the stuff that he's asked him to say into cooler speak, as he would put it.
Yeah. I don't know. I did quite like it when he tried to tell the class to go eat a bag of dicks.
But no, one of my other favourite minor character is it's not the principal of the school, it's the teacher.
The teacher, yeah.
Because two of my funniest moments in this episode were one where when JJ comes out of class and he gets them all to like stand and give him a round of applause, and then halfway through the round of applause he goes, wait a minute, he can't stand up, this is insensitive, sit back down.
Oh, it cracked me up.
So
this
good.
was so good. I don't understand.
And then at the end of the episode, when Kenneth gets on stage with them and he announces that JJ is going to run for class president, this teacher like throws his hands in the air and yells out, "My God, look at how socially, what was the phrase he uses? Aware, socially
Inclusive.
inclusive. Yeah, socially inclusive we are, and he's like cheering about it, and it's like, and then Kenneth like leans over to JJ and says, you should see them on Black History Month."
Yeah.
Oh God, no, it was so good.
I don't know. My favorite. It's almost nothing to do with any of the disability stuff. Like it's nothing to do with that gimmick of the show. It's the sister. You know, when she's running the track, and they all come in and they're doing like much slower, and the coach is still like, "That's great, amazing." She's like, "No, it's not. You're slow, damn it."
Yeah, now she actually says the name, which was, I think it's the touch that makes it especially funny. She's like, it's like, "No, you're slow, Emma."
Yeah.
Oh, so good. And then actually, yeah, the first moment with her is when they get pulled over by the cop. No, it's not a cop, because the cop's like, "No, I'm not.
I'm not dealing with that.
Life's too short to talk to that mum. I'm not doing it." It's when the other car like pulls up next to them and like is angry at them for like cutting them off or whatever.
She's just screaming from the back.
And it's her that screams at her and not the mum, which really was unexpected.
It was, and she's just screaming, "It's like, should have changed your oil before you left, and then you wouldn't be in the middle of the road, and you wouldn't be in the way." It's just like...
Then she's like, "Do you want to be under the car? Do you want to be under the?"
Yeah, and the mum's just like completely there. It's like, yeah, just go for it.
Oh man, this was really good.
This was so good.
So we will not be covering this week to week again for the reasons stated. We don't think there'll be as much to talk about beyond just like reiterating jokes, and I don't think there's much value in that. But I will definitely be watching this.
I absolutely will be watching this.
Whether it's week to week or I wait until summer and have a nice binge, I don't know. But
we'll see. I always intend to watch week to week, but it never lasts.
Every week with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I get about 3 episodes into a season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and go, "You know what? I'll wait to binge it at the end." I like doing that.
I tend to make it to about Halloween.
Right.
And then it's like, no, that's it. I've seen the Halloween episode. I can wait till summer now.
That's what I tend to do with the comedies. But that's Speechless. It's very good. Check it out if you haven't. Really, really surprisingly good. So yeah, there you go. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe and all that jazz. And remember, there's a bunch of new shows coming this week that you'll see us review, as well as the next couple of weeks, and basically all the way up to Halloween. There's at least one new show, and in the case of the next few weeks, multiple new shows launching each week, plus returning shows. It's a busy time. You can check all that stuff out. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz, and yeah, keep watching TV, guys. We will see you next time.